let's talk about a problem that cost builders an absolute fortune. But here's the thing, it doesn't happen on the job site, it happens in the conference room. We're going to break down a new way to think about turning those chaotic, messy construction meetings into clear, actionable, and, most importantly, profitable instructions.
Oh, yeah, you know the scene. I'm sure you do. The clients are there, they're changing their minds every 5 minutes. The designer's over there just furiously sketching on a notepad. Somebody's digging through old emails going, wait, what did we decide last week about the windows? The meeting ends, and what are you left with? A pile of scribbled notes and kind of this vague, uneasy feeling about what's supposed to happen next.
And this right here, this is the core issue. It's basically a broken game of telephone. You start with the chaos of the meeting, right? That gets translated into some messy, scribbled notes. Those notes then become a really ambiguous email that gets sent to the CAD drafter, who is then left to just guess what was actually meant. And this is the key takeaway. The most expensive mistakes, they're not happening in the design software. They're made right here in this fuzzy, error-prone translation. So, naturally, your first thought is, hey, let's throw some tech at this problem. And the first idea that comes up is, well, it's really seductive. What if we could use AI to generate design changes, live, right there in the meeting? Imagine the client says, can you make that roof a little taller? And bam, a beautiful new render pops up on the screen. It feels like the perfect solution, doesn't it? But it's not. Here's the reality check. The dream of just having these instant renders pop up, it's just that, it's a dream. There is a huge gap between what you see and what you can actually build. An AI-generated image is just a pretty picture. It has no idea about building codes or structural limits, or even your company's standard parts. It's a visual promise that your team might not be able to keep, which, honestly, is way worse than having no visual at all.
Okay, so that forces us to ask a much better question. If showing a faster, prettier picture isn't the solution, then where is the real bottleneck? Where does the information flow actually fall apart between what the client wants and what the builder's blueprint says?
And that question, that leads to the big aha moment. The breakthrough is to reframe the entire problem. You have to stop thinking of a meeting transcript as just a record of what people said, and you have to start thinking of it as raw source code for the project itself. Now, to really get what that means, we need to quickly define a key concept from the world of programming. So, let's talk about a compiler. In programming, a compiler is a special program that takes human-readable code, all the stuff a programmer types, and translates it into super precise, machine-executable instructions. Its job is to remove all ambiguity and create a crystal-clear set of commands. Just keep that idea in your head for a second. Because this is the core metaphor. This is the whole shebang right here. Just like a programmer writes source code, a construction team writes the project's instructions with their actual speech during a meeting. That meeting transcript is the source code. The problem has always been that we've been trying to execute this code by hand, with all the human error that comes with it. What we really need is a compiler. And that's exactly what this idea, the Transcript Directive Engine, or TDE, is designed to be. It's a decision compiler. It takes the messy, high-level language of a human conversation and turns it into structured, actionable data. So, the big question is, how does it actually work? It's a pretty straightforward 3-stage process. First, the TDE takes the whole conversation and just segments it, chops it up into small, time-stamped chunks. Then it goes through and extracts the important stuff. It asks, is this a clear directive, or is this a potential risk? And finally, this is the most important part. It governs that information with really strict rules to make sure there is total clarity and zero guesswork. And here you can see the result in action. Look at the left. That's your typical fuzzy meeting talk. Make the roof a little higher. Now look at the right. That's the compiled output. That vague request becomes a specific assigned directive. But look at that second one, because this is the real magic. The request for a standard header, the TD doesn't guess what that means. It flags it as an issue, and it puts it on hold until a human clarifies it. That simple step is an absolute game changer. So what you end up with are two incredibly valuable outputs. First, the master directives table, which tells your team exactly what to do. And second, the hold queue, which tells them exactly what not to do until they get more information. You see? Together, these two things provide total, unambiguous clarity for the entire project. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Okay, wait a minute. Isn't this just a fancy AI transcription tool like Otter.ai? And that's a fair question. But the answer is a hard no. The TDE is fundamentally different, and the next few points really show you why. First off, it's schema first. A tool like Otter is great, but it gives you a summary, basically a big blob of text. The TDA, on the other hand, gives you formal, structured data objects. Every single directive fits into a precise template with fields for what, who, and when. It's machine-readable data that's designed for execution, not just a document to jog your memory.
Second, and this is huge, is governance. The entire TDE is built on one simple, powerful rule. Hold beats guess. A generic AI note-taker will always try to be helpful. It'll try to fill in the gaps for you. But in construction, filling in the gaps is how you get change orders and lawsuits. TDE would much rather flag an ambiguity for a human to solve than make a potentially million-dollar assumption.
And third is something called verticalization. This just means it's not a tool for any old meeting. It is a tool built specifically for construction meetings. It understands the language, it knows the workflows, it's been trained on the common points of failure in design reviews and pre-con meetings. It's a specialist, not a generalist.
Okay, so it's a really clever system, we get it. But does it actually make a difference to the bottom line? Let's talk about how all this clarity translates directly from conversation into cold, hard cash. Let's just do some conservative, back-of-the-napkin math. For a typical builder, doing, say, 30 homes a year, miscommunication easily leads to 60 grand in rework and errors. And that's not even counting the $10,000 or more in just wasted admin time trying to sort through the mess after the fact. So you add that up, and you're looking at roughly $70,000 a year per builder. That's the real annual cost of messy meetings. This isn't some tiny little problem. It's a significant drain on both profitability and sanity. And this right here is the bottom line. Let's say a tool like this costs $10,000 a year. Even if it only eliminated a fraction of that waste, you're looking at a savings of over 25 grand. The return on investment here is it's a no-brainer. If you prevent just one medium-sized mistake, the whole thing pays for itself. So let's bring it all home. This TDE thing isn't just another note-taker. It's a compiler. It turns those messy human conversations into a single source of truth, a governed master directives table, so that builders can finally stop bleeding money and sanity over simple miscommunication. And I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. We spend so much time and energy protecting and perfecting the blueprints. But what if the most valuable and the most vulnerable asset in your entire project isn't that final drawing, but the series of human conversations that brought it to life in the first place?